Let me ask you about. We're going to talk to you about Liverpool, if that's all right. We're going to start off with Jurgen Klopp. 8 years he's been at Liverpool now. We were having this discussion earlier on about whether or not he's been a success at the club, and I think 99% of us all say, of course, without doubt, you can't win the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the World Club. The list is endless without, of course, being a success. But the counter argument to that is, with the team that he had, he's won Premier League title enough. And then, of course, the argument comes back, well, it's Man City you're up against. When you look back at Klopp, his 8 years at the club, it can only be a success, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think not only that, but I think what you think of what, again, you just mentioned that they're going up against Pep Guardiola, going up against the money that Man City have got. When you look at and compare the net spends of the two teams and what they've had to do, I would it's a hypothetical question, but would Guardiola be able to do what Klopp's done with the same budget? Would he be able to change the fortunes around that much of Liverpool? Liverpool were 8th in the league when Klopp took over. And you look at them now and the powerhouse that they are. Yes, they had a dip off last year, but I think it's incredible what he's done for the team. The style of football that they play is phenomenal. And when you think of the recruitment of some of the players, I think obviously the relationship he had with Michael Edwards behind the scene was hugely important to make sure that was right. And I think we've seen a little bit of a drop-off in the quality of players coming in since Edwards has left, and I think that's affected Klopp and what's got on. But overall, when you take in the bigger picture of what he's achieved, what he's done, he's won everything that's there to win. The only thing is, you're coming up against Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, and the money that they have. And I know there'll be people listening saying, well, it's not all about the money, it's how you spend it. But if Klopp had more money and was able to spend more and bring in different players, I think you'd see them winning the league year in, year out.
And when you talk about him getting 97 points and not winning the league, 92 points and not winning the league, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the standard Manchester City have set, and that's going to be very difficult to overcome for Arsenal this season. It'll be difficult. I know they won yesterday against Manchester City, but I still see City as the team to beat.
Of course,
I really do. With the quality of players that they've still got to come back into the team, De Bruyne missing, you think, imagine De Bruyne playing yesterday, what a difference he'd have made to the game. But no, I still think it's a phenomenal achievement of what he's done coming into the football club. But the club's in a healthier place as well. There's a lot of Liverpool fans who are not against FSG, but are like, back him, give him more. But he knew when he came into the club what he was signing up for. And I almost think he likes that side of it as well. Looking for the bargains.
Do you think he's not backed enough?
To a certain degree, but then that's the model of the football club, and that's the difficult part, isn't it? What do you do as a business owner?
Do you think if he was back more, they would have won more?
Yes. Yeah, I do, because I think you'd have been looking to bring more depth into the squad and seeing what they can bring in. If he's told he can only spend X amount, well, he's got to be careful how he spends that X amount. I mean, even the signing of Endo this season, he's not going to start every game, but for 16 million, he comes into the squad. Would you see Pep Guardiola spending 16 million on a holding midfielder as a backup player? Calvin Phillips was 50, can't even get on the pitch. He's number 5 in line to be holding midfielder, but that's the depth they've got in their squad as well.
When you look at what he's had to do in terms of the rebuilds at Liverpool, it looks like he's doing one again now as we speak. Do you think he's got enough time? Well, he's going to have enough time, but do you think he's got enough in his disposal to then challenge Liverpool again? We saw the drop-off last season, challenge Manchester City, We saw the drop-off last season. Arsenal took advantage of it. Obviously, it's Arsenal and Spurs at the top of the table this year. We know Manchester City are going to be there. But can Liverpool challenge them guys again, do you think, this season to the very end?
I think they will. I think they'll be there or thereabouts. I think when you talk about a rebuild, I think he's done 2 rebuilds since he's come into the club, realistically. This is the second one he's in now, because he had to change the dynamic of it all when he first come in. And then you look at, if you go to the front 3, you go Mane, Firmino and Salah, and then midfield was Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho and Milner, and then your back 4 was Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, and then Trent and Alisson. And that was the team that he used like predominantly. Yeah. But you look at it now, and he's changed the forward line. The midfield slowly changed as well. The back line will adjust slightly over the next couple of years. So he is in a rebuild. So when you look at it like that, he's almost a little bit too loyal, Jurgen Klopp, and that has perhaps been his downfall. But as a player, We'd love that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, of
where a
course.
manager's loyal to you and thinks you can carry on for a little bit longer and get more out of you.
What about Salah? Because listen, this guy, for me, I've spoken about on this show. I'm a big fan of his. Arguably, I think on that right hand side, he's the greatest player to play in Premier League history. On that right hand side, what happens at the end of the season, and how you can't replace him? That's just impossible. But what happens, do you think, with him at the end of the season?
Everyone's replaceable. You said it about Suarez. Said it about Coutinho.
Yeah, true. Actually, true.
Everyone is replaceable, and he will be replaceable in time. I think the big thing is that from a business point of view with Salah, is that if you get an offer in and around 175 upwards, which we think the Saudis will be willing to pay, is you've got a big decision to make, and that's a rebuild within itself, that you can spend money on players.
Would you sell him for that?
I wouldn't sell him this season in January. Maybe next season, but you'd have to have someone lined up. You'd have to have someone exciting lined up.
Yeah.
I mean, the one player that springs to mind is, I can't even say his name, Kvaratskhelia, is it?
Yeah, from Napoli.
From Napoli. He's the one player that you look at and think, young potential, can play, but he's a left-sided player. Could he play on that right-hand side? Szoboszlai that's where he played for Leipzig. Is he going to play higher up if he was to go? There's probably, the scouting network will be out now, won't it?
Yeah.
Knowing that Salah's getting to that point. The big thing from Liverpool's point of view, though, is he's also a commercial asset to the club, and he brings so many bums on seats in the ground.
Yeah.
You only have to walk around the ground and you see the scarves, the flags from Egypt, from Africa. It's not just Egypt, it's Africa as a whole that he's bringing into the football club. And commercially, the shirts being sold everywhere around the world are phenomenal.
A quick word about Liverpool. Of course, they went to the Amex yesterday 2-2. Was it a 2 points dropped or a point earned, do you think? Because towards the end of that game, Brighton had many a chance to seal that game. They're fourth at the moment in the Premier League. I think if they would have won, they'd go up to third.
Yeah.
How do you view their performance yesterday?
I think Gravenberch, if he scores that opportunity to make it 3-1, I think Liverpool win the game comfortably, because then it opens the game up a little bit more. However, Liverpool need to stop. You asked me before, will they compete for the title? They need to stop conceding first. They concede far too many goals at the back. They're a little bit open. That's where I think, will they compete fully for the title without that defensive midfielder, that holding midfielder? I don't think McAllister's suited to that position.
No.
He struggles athletically.
Yeah, that's not his position.
It's not his position at all. He's better higher up the pitch, but it's just, I wonder whether he's trying to put two high pressing players in to make them press higher up the pitch to win the ball, to stop them being susceptible for the counter attacks, to be being vulnerable in that centre of midfield. But on a whole, I think the result was the correct one yesterday. Okay. I love Brighton. I love watching them. I think they're a brilliant team.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.